see. And let's see, make sure NiveFX is streaming live on Twitch.
I love your splash image.
Okay, it says we're streaming live on that one. Let me check YouTube. Okay, it looks like we're live on YouTube, which is awesome. And Facebook, we should be also live. Let me refresh that. Yeah, we're live on all of them, so we should be good. Hey, what's up, guys? Just starting to get set up for the stream. We're streaming for the LightBox Expo since it's not a real place we can go to now. We're here trying to do something to hang out with you guys while what's going on. And we have Crystal joining us today, which is awesome. Crystal, hey.
Hey, everyone. What's up? How's it going?
All right, looks like, can you guys confirm if you guys can hear us on any of the platforms? So I have a chat on my side, so I'll let you know if somebody says anything. It's just for people to kind of let us know if they can actually hear us, if if it's too loud, not loud enough.
Yeah, I am refreshing the YouTube just so I can see what you're up to, but I haven't seen anything quite yet.
I'm doing it now. I'm zooming in and stuff. So this is going to be just like a chill stream. We're just going to be creating some stuff that we would usually create for any of these expos and stuff we do for fun. So feel free to ask questions or anything goes. So can you load something on your screen, or even if it's just a sphere?
Yeah. Let's. So I'm just gonna start with a sweet cylinder, because why not?
It's the best.
The greatest. A beautiful cylinder. And if anyone has any questions about tools and stuff, we can definitely talk about it. But I think Miguel and I have probably really locked down our workflow to the point where it's kind of, it's just like, writing writing on a piece of paper now. It comes to us so naturally just because we've been doing it so long. So
yeah, I had times where like sometimes people are asking me, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. It's like built into my muscle memory that I need to go back and really think about what I'm doing to like explain it to somebody else.
Exactly. I mean, that's where teaching comes in handy, because it helps you kind of observe how your actual process and how you're actually approaching these things. And then it helps you, it helps me like actually learn the subject matter more.
So what shows have you been watching, Crystal?
So I have been watching. I just finished all of Outsider, and been watching Lovecraft Country. I'm not up to date with the last episode, but I know you've been liking that.
Yeah, I've been watching that one. I was super excited when I saw like some of the Comic-Con, I guess, exclusive trailers, and it really got me interested in wanting to watch it. So far, it's been good. For me, episode 1 and 2 were probably the best. And I kind of see what they're doing with the rest of the series, where kind of not just introducing monsters and ghosts and other things, but I really like those first 2 episodes. They're pretty inspiring to like, that's the reason I started making this piece, actually, to kind of just do something in that theme. But I really like it so far, so I'm kind of excited to see where they take it.
Yeah, I love this, Jordan Peele kind of empire that's been going on with horror. That's been my jam. I cannot wait for. I know he's not the showrunner, but I believe he produced it, right? And the showrunner is actually a woman, I believe, which is really awesome. Cool. And Jordan Peele is producing, I believe, a Candyman remake and uh, that Antebellum movie that's coming out later.
Oh.
Ooh, I'm so
You know
excited for
what's funny?
that.
I just saw a trailer for. I watch a lot of trailers on YouTube, and there's usually compilations, and I guess you're making a Tales from the Hood 3, and they have the Candyman guy show up, and I was like, I just saw him on the trailer for that Candyman thing. I'm like, I guess he's making a comeback.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think he's getting because Candyman's coming back. He's having a
Yeah,
whole
that's
thing.
cool.
I'm like, man, I haven't seen that guy since Final
Oh yeah,
Destination.
it's been a while, right? Yeah.
It's like always. It was funny because, especially with Candyman, I don't know how long it's been since you've seen
It's been
that.
ages. I
Um,
don't think I really remember. I need to watch it again.
I was so scared of it when I was a kid, and I watched it recently, like for the first time. Yeah, and I was scared of it because I think my mom or someone really made a an impression on me about how scary it was going to be. So I'd always like, oh, like I can't watch it because even my mom's scared or whatever. But my mom's she's she likes to tell. It's always the opposite. If she tells me something scary, it's weird, and if she tells me something weird, it's terrifying. So her the compass for whether or not it's scary to me is completely different when my mom describes it. So when I finally saw Candyman, I'm like, wow, this is great. This isn't scary. I mean, it was more like a really like timely piece,
Mm.
you know, dealing with classism and especially now with the Black Lives Matter movement. It's like it's a really great thing to have a remake of because it's kind of
Hey, Video Marknet, how's it going? Thanks for joining the stream. Sorry, I'll be shouting out names when people show up. So if I say something random, you're like, what is he
yeah.
talking about? Yeah, I know I've been going back now and I guess trying to introduce my kids to the old classics. You know, like old horror movies, but they're not too much quite yet. You know. Um,
Okay, so what's the
right
list?
now, let's see. She's super into Godzilla. So yesterday we were gonna have dinner and we're like, oh, what do you want to watch? She's like, I want to watch Godzilla, the one with the moth. And I was like, oh my god, you just like, like it's amazing you just said that. That's your first choice, you know. And and
Oh, you're like
yeah, I
you
was
did
like,
the
okay, I'm
best.
doing something right. She loves these monsters, you know. So I'm kind of slowly introducing her. Like I introduced her to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the old like 1970s with Donna Sutherland. Like, and
Mhm.
she was like,
Oh,
oh,
I
those
love it.
people are like, what's wrong with them, you know? I go, they're like aliens. Like they want to take your body. So kind of introducing her to those things
They
so
want to
she doesn't
snap.
get scared. But I'm trying to also be like careful not to scare her too much.
Yeah, no, I mean sometimes it depends on like she's come from a long line of people who have great great chutzpah, if you if you will, um, and I think having that
Yeah.
constitution right for horror films, I think it's in her
Yeah,
blood.
yeah. I just don't want her to be scared of anything, you know? Like, it's kind of like I love monsters. I think monsters are awesome. Like, yeah, sometimes they look scary, but sometimes they're just cool. Cool, you know, they're misunderstood.
Like I was making I can't say what, but I was making a kind of monster thing the other day at work, and I got a comment that said like, "Oh, this is nightmare fuel," and I'm thinking, is it? Not my nightmares. For me, it's kind of peculiar too because I guess I'm not scared of I don't know what kind of movies like actually scare you, but there's only a few things that actually keep me awake at night if I watch a horror movie about them, and it's never like something
Mm.
real, if that makes sense. It's never like a home invasion. Like I don't really care.
Right. Let me. I guess some people are having some errors. Some errors with Twitch, but seems to be working fine on YouTube. So I'm gonna share the YouTube and the Facebook links.
Okay.
Let me post those on Instagram.
Uh, Twitch stuff either, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
is it showing up on your end, or is it kind of not working right? Okay.
No,
All right. So I just posted the
system.
Facebook one, and I'm gonna post the YouTube one, since those are working pretty flawlessly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Flawless.
I'll send
Okay.
you the links as well, so you can post them on your end in case anybody it doesn't work. Hey Hannibal, how's it going?
Okay.
Also, the Twitch screen is black. Oh, that's weird. Can you guys check Facebook or YouTube? Those seem to be working fine. There's always something, right? Something always breaks.
Of
Yeah. So
course.
what are you making right now? Are you making
Especially when it's not.
a deer or a cool?
Yeah, I guess so. I started kind of um with an ungulate in mind, but we'll see where this goes. Um, this is like the standard start for like quadruped in my head. Just it's kind of like after all the
Yeah.
practice, right? You kind of get into a groove of like, okay, well, I like these kinds of things, and let me get down a foundation and then of anatomy, and then I can really start to figure out what the
Mm-hmm.
design is. And that's really all I'm doing. And one thing with it, we'll see what this turns into because I thought I was gonna make a cat, and it sure isn't that.
Well, that's the thing, right? Sometimes you get inspired in the moment and you just go with it. That's what I've been doing a lot lately now, where I just kind of sometimes have a plan to do something, and if something else comes along, I'll just continue with that groove, you know.
No, it's good, especially for like if you guys ever want to just, and it's perfect timing for it too. You can catch up with your friends and kind of just like you used to do when you're a kid, depending on how old you are, when you're a kid and you were on the phone and you would just draw while you're talking to your friends on the phone, and you come up with some really like awesome and creative stuff, I find.
Yeah, I'm starting to kind of also, I guess, play with the idea of just having fun. You know, like sometimes I'll start. I want to make
Hmm.
something a product or something that I'm always putting pressure on myself in. When it's just like, they just make something fun. Like it doesn't matter. You know, whatever flows. I'm just kind of going with it now.
Yes, exactly. Because um, you know those moments of inspiration are fleeting, and you can spend forever like tweaking it and making it production friendly after you've got a really nice piece or a design or and sometimes like and I know you've experienced this, the best things you make come out of nowhere and um they're also probably you don't necessarily spend a lot of time getting the main idea down. Like the main idea like comes out and it's like, oh, this is such a cool idea, and then you spend 100 million hours like polishing it when you're done. But that initial like spurt of energy and like the actual like the part that is actually appealing to you and other people kind of comes out of that comes out of like that burst of inspiration, at least as far as my experience goes. Like I hardly ever have anything really go to plan if it's my own work. Um, and usually I kind of the first try is not necessarily the best one, and I love like going through ideas and
No,
feeling
that's true because
because when
I had the same problem with this guy. I started. I guess I'll show the layers because I started using layers on this guy, and he started looking too human. You know, like a I want to say maybe more like a 1950s kind of tentacle monster looking guy because he was too close to human proportions. Because I actually started with this guy. Just I was trying something new. I scanned one of the body forms that I have. Like I was figuring I'm gonna do this like a mask, like traditional mask makers do. So I wanted to start with a form. So I scanned that and I started with that. And then I started experimenting with it. Like, oh, let me start working on this guy, right? But I noticed that he started to become too human. and then it's like, I'm like, okay, it looks okay, but I'm not happy with it. What's wrong with it? So then I took that large form off, and I started just adding layers for like putting more variations of other things the way I would do it if I wasn't confined to that. And I started just kind of playing, and you can see here like all the layers that I'm adding on, and that changed the design completely, and I'm much more happier with this design than I was with the with the one I had all the limitations with.
I love and then of course, not to be another ad for ZBrush. I mean, I think I speak for both of us when we say like it's like
it
the
is
best.
Because without this, I would have to redo this from scratch, and then it would suck.
Yes, I don't know if you guys ever tried traditional clay, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. But I'm also like, I kind of feel like I'm missing all my cheat codes.
Yes, yeah. There's no the undo mirror, or little things that you will maybe just mirror the eyes, and then the rest is not mirrored, and yeah, those little cheat codes that really get you there quicker.
Yeah, I mean it's that production mentality that we have to, it's really hard to get out of once you're in it. And it's so important to get out of that production mentality sometimes and have a play, because I think that it contributes to a lot of limitation in my creativity. Going in pretending like, oh, I need to plan for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Whereas ZBrush is also incredibly helpful in doing things.
So we have Lucas saying hi. Hey, how's it going, man? Sorry, you keep talking. I'll just shout out people as they come in.
I don't know. Say hi to your friends. It's so cool that you guys are joining us. I just had this like random idea, and I'm like, oh, Miguel already streams, and we're both going to be at Lightbox, so why not try this out?
Why not give it a try? It doesn't hurt. Absolutely. So how have you been? Have you been using 2021.1 or whatever, the latest ZBrush?
Heck yeah, I am.
How has it been? Pretty stable for you, or any glitches?
Yes, it has. For what I've done so far, it has been very stable. I think the only thing that I had an issue with was when I think I had mentioned it to you when I was exporting displacement maps. When you export your displacement maps, and this is like technical talk, but when you export your displacement maps, and let's say it fails or you stop it in the middle, I think it's deleting UVs. So don't save after that. Just throw it out.
Just get rid of it, right? Just pretend it's yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, for me, I had a few crashes even during the stream sometimes for no reason, but it's kind of random. But I know I heard some people were having issues with their Wacom drivers, where like it wasn't accepting what is it called, like the pressure sensitivity. But I haven't had that problem yet, so I don't know if it's just like their setup or what.
Are you using a Cintiq? Yeah, me too. It's so funny too because I use I use a Cintiq on my home setup, and at work I use a tablet because they don't want to get everybody's.
I do the same actually. I have at work. I just have the newest, like I guess medium sized tablet, and I still feel like sometimes I still prefer that better than using the Cintiq. But it really depends on the day and like how I'm feeling, you know.
Yeah, totally. I mean, sometimes I think maybe it helps me differentiate my work life from my home life a little bit, since it's not exactly the same. I think I was obsessed with creating the exact same situation at work and at home, and I realized that I don't know, maybe it's not that important because I can switch back and forth pretty easy. It's weird disconnect too. I'm not sure. At first I thought it was really jarring, but it's not like a huge deal anymore.
Lucas is saying that I guess since 2019 it's been doing that, deleting UVs. Yeah, I guess I
Oh,
never
okay.
noticed that either. It
Yeah.
just, you know what? I wish they actually had a batch system, so you can just export maps and you can still keep using ZBrush. Because then
That'd be
it's like a
great.
separate process that's just running in the background while you can still continue to use it. I feel like that would be nicer.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, I love, to be honest, I really love those new, sometimes the new stuff in ZBrush. I'm like, it's really cool, but then I don't
I
like
haven't
use
used the
it.
cloth, and I was super excited to hear about it, and then I just didn't use it. I haven't used it yet.
Just used it at work the other day, and
Oh, that's
it's pretty
cool.
great.
I got to give it a try.
Uh, I mean, it was so easy to like get something approved. You know, usually when you're working with cloth, it's like a whole deal in production. You know, you have to prepare everything for the creature cloth guys or the creature TDs,
Yeah.
right? And in this case, you don't have to be so precious because you can actually art direct your cloth a little bit more, um, because it won't change any of your edge lengths on your sim state or fitted state, which is amazing actually. Because before, I think what people were doing was if they did sculpt a little bit in ZBrush, and this is before, of course, before Marvelous introduced their sculpting brushes, um, but we would kind of cheat a little bit to like get it art directed and
Mm-hmm.
like approved via the like VFX Super or whatever, so it can just look nice. But then really the clock people have to kind of reverse engineer it all anyway, and that's not what they're actually going to be simming. You know, they're simming that inflated whatever.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
I guess
thing.
people are having issues
If you don't,
with Twitch. So if you guys, I posted some links for YouTube and Facebook, so you guys could check us out through there. I think for tomorrow we'll change it up and give a direct YouTube link or something. Sorry for that.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, technology is this is kind of an experiment, and if you guys really like this too, I mean, I'd love to hang out, have an excuse to hang out with
yeah,
my friends
especially being so
again.
far away.
Yeah, yeah, New Zealand. It's well, we're far away, and we're not allowed to. We wouldn't be allowed to
That's
hang out
true.
anyway.
That's true. So this is a perfect compromise.
That's what I'm incredibly thankful for my job and my ability to be digital because I have so much more flexibility.
So this is some of the references that I'm using, just kind of looking at real life. You know, I kind of start with just whatever comes out of my head, and then I kind of start dialing it back for details and seeing real life stuff to see how that would, you know, affect my design or what changes I need to make it feel more real. I like to share the references. I think Crystal wanted to share some references too, but she has a cat, and I don't think she's not making a cat right now.
I'm sure I'm not. Yeah, I was gonna make a cat. I liked this cat that was kind of in this really cool pose. And then as soon as I started, this kind of came out. So I think at a certain point, I'll find some references to really refine a few things. But right now, I'm kind of going off my memory. And then eventually, I need to rein that in because it's not going to look correct after a while. References are so important.
So do you use Pure Ref a lot, or you use the other one, Quattro or something? I forgot the name of the other one. Um,
I didn't know there was another one. Yeah, yeah, I use
okay,
Pure
cool.
Ref. Pure Ref
Yeah, I always
5.
forget to use it. Like here, like right now, like I'll use it once in a while, but I'll forget that I have it. I'm like, why am I making my life so hard when I could just make a board?
It's so great. I mean, I have, if you guys want to see my hilarious reference that I'm not using.
It's inspiring you, right? It's just inspiration.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, I lost. Oh no, here it is.
Look at
So
that guy.
this
He's 22
one,
pounds, right?
this is
He's
what
like
I was
he
up
looks
to.
tough.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love this cat. But guess what? I'm not making him. So I actually have another set of undulate reference that I can bring up so you guys can kind of see like what my process is here. Um, so if I'm going to make an animal from scratch and it's a real species, because right now I'm just like screwing around. Like this is just, it could be a creature or whatever. Um, but usually what I'll do is like just like a human being head proportion chart. I'm going to make my own proportion chart for whatever the species is. In this case, it was an elk. Um, and then I have a bunch of images of anatomy, comparative anatomy. But this is absolutely essential to helping you learn. If you know your humans, you're going to learn your animals really easily. Um, and I put it together kind of like a puzzle. Of course, there are differences, but the main movers uh, anatomically are all the same between us because we are all mammals that live on the earth that have to um, function in a similar way. Like, and we wouldn't walk on all fours, but we do. Dogs jump and dogs have to run, and we have to run and we have to jump. So all the same skeletal points and muscle insertions and things like that. If you know them on a human, you can make really educated guesses on where they are on any quadruped.
Hey, John Mahoney,
So,
thanks for joining. Sam.
John
Yeah, John
Mahoney,
Mahoney's here
hi.
too. That's awesome.
I don't know. I don't know if he remembers, but he was my teacher in
Oh,
Noman.
nice.
That was awesome. There. Now that I have proper reference and you can see what I'm up to. I'm not necessarily making this species, but I'm using it to clean up a few forms I kind of just made up on the fly. So it's always really important to not ignore feet, which is what I used to do as a young artist. Just constantly ignore feet and hands because they're hard. Don't do that because if you do it every single time, they're not going to be scary anymore.
Yeah, it's like UVs. I still hear people say UVs are hard, and I'm just like, it's like the most zen thing for me. Like, I look forward to doing UVs.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I get that they're kind of impeding your progress a little bit if you just want to see a pretty picture. But, at that stage, I'm kind of like, it's it is zen because all that pressure is off for a second, and you can kind of zone out and enjoy. As I talk about feet, they're gonna look ugly for a while, for example, but it's okay.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, right? Like, some of this stuff looks ugly for like a long time, and all of a sudden, like 45 minutes later or an hour later, like it looks like it has like potential, and you just got to keep going and not give up on it. Or sometimes it goes nowhere, and you have to stop and start over. So it's like it's just not being scared of failing and like making mistakes,
That's so important. Failure is the best lesson. It's the best way to get rid of ideas that aren't working. Too, like if your ideas are like with you and you're trying to salvage something, sometimes it feels great to just start over, and then you're like, oh, I can do this so much faster this time.
Oh, hey, Magdalena, I recognize that name. Nice. Thanks for joining the stream. Love your work. Magdalena?
Was it? Oh, hi.
It's nice. Nice to have other people join that are awesome.
Her work's amazing. I was just talking to my friend Tran Ma, who is incredible. She's an incredible artist. And I love the amount of really good female artists that have come up very recently. And not very recently, it's like we've been there, you know, and we've been working. And I don't know what it is. There's like some kind of, maybe it's just because of the prevalence of the industry being mainly male, that all the the famous artists or whatever, quote unquote famous artists, had been male for such a long time. And we were talking about how, you know, both of us, we can't remember hardly ever a time when a female artist was teaching. Like in the whole of Noman, I never had a female teacher teaching CG. You know what I mean? And only just recently, all these wonderful like teachers have been coming out, and there's more and more women in they've always been there, like I said, but they're being more vocal about being there, instead of kind of just working behind the scenes and doing awesome stuff and like not sharing, but showing off how cool their work is. And it's like, no, it's absolutely no different. But then when you're only shown, like at the time when I got into the industry, when you're only shown men or people that don't look like you, it's hard to kind of imagine maybe yourself in that position.
No, that's true. No, it's good to see female. Like I always try to help any female. Well, I always try to help any female kind of help succeed, because if my daughters can see that, then they know there's a path there they can follow and keep going. But even before I had kids, I used to just always help anybody. For me, there's no gender or color. It's just like, you want to do this, let's do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I first so Miguel and I met on an interview that I had at Hydraulics a million years ago, and I'll admit it. I don't think I knew very much at all, because I was a super noob. But Miguel was so just welcoming. There was like no problem. He was like super chill, and we ended up like becoming great friends. But like, at the time, it was just kind of like a new industry. It's scary. You don't know who like is gonna give you the time of day, or like, because everyone's busy too. So you don't know like who to go. Anyway, thanks for always being available for like showing demos and how to do things right, and like, that time. And I remember too, like my first day at Hydraulics, I drank so much McDonald's coffee, I can't even tell you, just in preparation for my entire. And I think my first day was like a 12-hour day too.
What was that for? Fantastic Fury. I guess what was it for? Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I remember that. I couldn't even remember the name of the movie.
Yeah, I built a really, really terrible car engine, you guys. And yeah, sorry about that. It wasn't good. It simply was not good.
But yeah, those were fun times. Yeah, we worked together for a very long time, and we still continue to be friends, and we do stuff like this, hang out, and just to help each other out whenever we can. That's another thing too. Like sometimes people see, I guess, other artists as competition. I tend not to do that, because it's like we're just all trying to help each other. There's room for all of us and more.
Oh, absolutely. It's a funny thing to call it competition when it's more like. I like to think of it too like it's like a pathway on a mountaintop, and everyone's just at different points. It's not like I'm trying to. And I also don't think you can race to the top, because it's just going to take. It takes all the hard work to get anywhere near, and like I think I tell you, I tell a lot of people too. Like one of my favorite artists, Tara Whitlatch. Somebody asked her like, what's the thing that like still trips you up? Like, what's still really hard? And she's like, oh, anatomy. And it's like, all right, well, I'm never going to stop.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? Like some of these things, like even professionals that have been doing it and you look up to, they're still struggling with this stuff too, which is it's good to know because then it feels that you don't feel alone.
Exactly. We're all going through the same exact stuff. And, um, don't be hard on yourself too when activity doesn't seem like it's happening. And like, especially when you factor in social media, it looks like certain people are incredibly prolific. Um, but comparing yourself to them doesn't help you get better. It's more, it could be a great driving factor to help motivate you, but it's also like not a reason to feel bad. It's a reason to like, I'll be inspired and keep going.
Hey, Oscar, thanks for joining, man. Yeah, that's one of the things to get used to in the stream, that you have to stop and remember there's people watching you, and like you have to say hi, or just acknowledge that they're there because it's cool that they kind of join to help you. And sometimes they give you some good advice as well, or they help you design. Like when you're like, oh, this I'm not sure about this. What do you guys think, A or B? And sometimes that helps you design as well.
Well, that's cool. If you guys want to, it's like I said, this isn't going to be a deer. I'm just using this for correcting some of the stuff that I came up with on the fly at the beginning, kind of like doing stuff. If anyone wants to suggest what kind of head I should do for this, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just gonna make some random.
Some cool random thing,
Yeah. I'll probably break symmetry soon as well. And I don't love these hooves, actually. Get these a little bit longer. And but if anyone has like a suggestion on what kind of head they want, otherwise I'm just gonna make whatever. Make these little toes, these little hoof toes.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the reference that I gathered. Some of the stuff is pretty cool, like for these sucker parts and all that texture.
I love doing these kinds of.
Also, do you want to show some of the things you have for the Lightbox Expo, like some of your little new creatures you made?
Sure.
Yeah, she has some really cool little creatures that are pretty awesome. You guys should check them out. I forgot which aisle. Are we like in the 700 aisle? I don't remember which.
I don't know.
No, I don't remember either. Somebody asked me yesterday, and I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah, we're on the directory. And I think that, like, I still have to go through today and kind of, I've been super busy. I've been working this whole weekend. So I've got to go in and like actually look. And I missed out on a couple of prints that I wanted. And I was like, dang it.
Oh, like some limited edition stuff? Or?
Oh, yeah, like Aliza, her print went on sale, and it's like immediately gone.
I did that yesterday. I spent a few bucks on some books last night, just kind of going through the aisles and like, looking at some of those. But there's so many that I'm like, I can't buy them all. I want to, but I have to restrain myself because I still have books that are shrink wrapped from either last year that I haven't even opened. I just put in my bookshelf.
The last time I went to stewarding, I got the most incredible Rembrandt Bugatti book.
That's cool.
And it's so heavy and beautiful, and I was so happy with it. But when I moved to New Zealand, I was like, I can't take any art books with me. They're too heavy. So I keep buying art books. I mean, I recently bought the Beth Kavanaugh book, or like that was last year.
Do you have that? Do you have that there?
A few of the
New
Kickstarter
Zealand, or you
books.
still have it here shipped to LA?
I've been shipping them to LA. Like someone's been. I have friends house sitting, and they've been helping me with all my mail and packages and stuff. So I have all these art books waiting for me, and I haven't even got to look at them yet. So let's just say if we were actually at Lightbox right now, I would be buying a bunch of stuff. Probably a lot more than what I'm buying now. because you see the impulse buy and you want to like interact with people, which I think is the only problem with the limitation of the online event. Even though I think it's awesome. So these are like the little dudes that I've been making. They're based on some digital designs in ZBrush, and I printed them out in Anycubic, Photon S 3D printer, and uh, Greg Howie from NZ Caps. And yes, I've been saying Z now. I'm here. Um, uh, they helped me mold and cast and get these beautiful colored resins and just made helped me get these guys out. So like these are all really beautiful candy colored little pigs made out of resin, really cute. And then the lions are really cool because the backings have magnets, so you can just stick them on your fridge or wherever, and then they could even be a coat hanger, I suppose. Like the ability is there if you want to drill. And I like left the colors on. You can choose whatever colors you want. I have a bunch of different colors available, but they are you can totally paint them yourself if you don't like them. The color, you can just paint some primer on it. Here's the pearl one, this pink bubblegum one.
That red one, I love that.
These
red
red
one.
ones are actually.
Well, red's my favorite color, but that one, it looks amazing.
It looks like
yes,
candy,
I wanted to see them.
I think. Yeah, actually the red ones have been the most popular. I just made a bunch of colors, or we made a bunch of colors, and I had no idea which colors would be the favorites. So, no, it's really cool to see.
That's cool.
And actually, remind me later. I have another project to share with
nice.
people. When I'm sculpting a quadruped, I'm always highlighting bony landmarks. And just like in clay, I'm probably overemphasizing every major bony landmark, just so I can always have a point of reference to know where my bones are and like where my insertion points are going to lead to. And also, and this is something I don't use on a day-to-day, but I really love it for teaching, is the thumbnail view. Kind of awesome because it really lets the cat out of the bag, so to speak, whether or not your silhouette's working and whether or not it's reading. I don't know. Do you ever
Yes, I've been using it more and more recently and making it larger, like you did, like where it was almost half the screen. I think it helps a lot because, especially with these designs, you need to, it's always about the silhouette. If the silhouette doesn't read right, then there's probably something wrong.
Exactly. And one of my major artistic revelations, like I don't know why it took me so long, and I think it's because I've been kind of coming at it backwards. Like I started out wanting to be a 2D animator, but I was doing mostly digital drawing and stuff like that. I mean, after, of course, like I drew a lot as a kid, but that was like more like, oh, let me copy this Lion King coloring book or whatever. That's kind of my artistic ability as a kid. But then when I wanted to be an animator, I think that's around when Toy Story came out, or like right after, and that's when 3D was like the thing. So I was like mainly a digital artist, and then now I'm like learning. I'm going backwards, and like actually figuring out how to approach something from a fine art point of view, which I think I had been missing for a really long time. But yes, so one of my major revelations was the idea of treating my sculpture like a 2D piece. So as I'm going through and like checking out my model, especially with the thumbnail silhouette thing, like tidying up every single outline, every angle that I see it in. So if there's something that doesn't work, it's probably because, and I see this a lot with some students, there might be some lumps and they'll leave it alone because they're like focusing on the details. But I say like tighten everything up and make those outlines as clean as possible, just like a line drawing. And that's going to make everything read so much clearer. Um,
So that's something Crystal and I
it
do. We
might
do
be
a lot of
obvious.
like mentorship. So if you guys want to know more and that type of stuff, feel free to check out our websites. Sorry, I didn't mentor.
Yes, I do. With the Mentor Coalition, um, I do some like one-on-one mentorships sometimes. And actually, for October, we're trying something new with like I believe it's like um, it's like an extra long mentorship, so people can have the flexibility of people are usually people I'm mentoring are like in the industry anyway, and they're working and they're busy and they want to work on a project and and like have some good feedback and availability to have feedback. They don't have a chance to do it in the month that is usual for that mentorship. So um, we're trying to do something now where it's a little bit more flexible time wise for them, and they you can get critique calls after a few months. So definitely check that out if you're interested.
That's pretty cool. That's like a longer term thing to give you time to actually do the work and then get some feedback later, huh?
Yeah,
That's a good
exactly.
idea.
Which I know is a point of frustration for a lot of people. Um, Things will get busy and they want to really like boost their skills, and then their actual work commitments come up and they can't have time to finish their
Yeah,
project.
that happens to me. When I take classes
It,
too. Like I'll just have time to kind of skim through the videos and sometimes not do any of the work, just kind of to see other people's workflows, and it'll be nice to kind of get some feedback even later once you're actually able to apply it or have questions like 4 months later after you actually learned it. But is it right or is it not right?
yeah, exactly. Like I get excited about the class sometimes, and then I don't even get to create anything within the class, or I create so much pressure for the time that I'm in the class um, that if it's not great, like I used to do this thing where it's like, oh well, if it's not great, then like I've wasted my time in the class, and that sucks. Like I have, like this is my one chance because I'm not working, to focus, and then I realized that was crazy. Like, I mean, like when I went to all those Andrew Carse
Mm-hmm.
classes, like all those ones and stuff. Um, and they're incredible, but they're only incredible if you actually do the work. Do the work. Um, and it was funny. I think by the third one or whatever, and he was just kind of like, "Oh, I think you should probably like not do the homework and do your work." I'm like, "Oh wait, what?"
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta jump in there and just do it. You just need a little guidance and just do it.
Yeah, he's like, you already know this. Like, you need to actually use it so you can apply it. Um, so that was the thing. Like, I was making excuses at that time for why I didn't have time, like busy at work, and like I've got a bunch. Of course, I'm always going to be busy at work. That's the thing. We are always
Yeah,
busy.
you never get any more free time. You always get more time deducted.
Exactly. More time deducted. Totally. So you kind of have to be smarter about your time. But if you don't prioritize yourself and the personal work that you do, which actually is the thing that is going to get you to that next stage in your career and in your own happiness, if you don't nourish that need, like to be your own art director for a second and make your own stuff, it's really not helpful for you and your drive, like your personal drive, and your work will suffer. Like, I mean, like we go through stages of that all the time. But I try to prioritize, you know. Um, did you ever read that big magic book that I told you about
Yes,
the other day?
yes. I still need to sit down and have some time to listen to it. Hopefully next week or something.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, if you guys want some inspiration, Big Magic from Elizabeth Gilbert is incredible for helping inspire you to just kind of forget some stuff and have a, you know, feed your creativity because it's so important. And it's also about the history of human creativity and how that works, which is incredibly interesting. And you know, it'll help give you it'll put a lightning bolt in you to get some stuff done. And I'm sure, especially right now, you know, during the lockdown and all that stuff, it's helpful because I personally during lockdown, and I'm very fortunate to be in New Zealand now, but during the lockdown, I felt useless. I wasn't producing a thing other than at work, and you know, you feel really bad because like you see, again, comparing yourself to other artists, which is not a good idea. Oh, everyone's so productive, and I'm not doing anything. I just want to watch Netflix, and I don't think there's any reason to be hard on yourself
And
right
sometimes you have
now.
to do that. So I notice myself sometimes I just have to disconnect and not do anything. Literally, like just sit and watch a whole series of TV shows, and then once I'm done with that, then you know after a week or two, just get back to it.
Yeah, definitely schedule time away from your
So we
work
have
as
John
well.
saying two-headed deer.
Oh,
That could be a cool monster or cool anomaly in nature.
definitely. We do we do one, and then I'll pose it and put on a second head. It's a good idea.
Hey, how's it going, Amilcar? Thanks for joining. Nice. We're starting to get some people rolling in. It's nice.
Yeah, thanks so much. We're just making an excuse to hang out,
Yeah,
to
it's
be
been a
honest.
while.
So how's how is the I guess I wanted to ask like as much as you can talk about it. How's the work? Seems like a really cool job.
It's a pretty amazing job. The only thing that sucks is that I can't talk about anything until it's
Okay.
out. But soon we'll be able to talk about some big things. Yeah, that's the only thing
Okay.
that sucks.
Is
A
there
lot of people ask me, it's like, oh, so can you talk about it? It's like, no, sorry. It's even worse than VFX. You know, where like at least some people know. Here it's like nobody knows unless only your little team knows. You know.
I see. Is there going to be a reveal event, or is there like a major event coming out that like we should all keep an eye
Yeah,
out?
there's I think GTC in October. I'm not sure if it's the 5th or the 7th of October. There's some stuff showing on there, but they're trickling it out every time they do little releases. Especially since we're doing so many digital conferences, they kind of leak out a little bit every time. So
Okay.
soon I'll be able to talk about it. It sucks because it's been a while since I've shown anything that I worked on.
Been I've been waiting to see, but it looks like such a cool job, but I'm like, what you doing?
Yeah, soon we'll be able to talk about it.
I
Hopefully.
mean, I mean, with me too. Like, I had been, I took a break from film, and I was in ads for a bit, um, and then cinematics, and I was used to like such a fast turnaround, and oops, kidding, sorry. I was used to such a fast turnaround that when I get back into film over here at Weta, I'm like, oh, I gotta wait for all these productions to finish. Well, what's the holdup, man? It's like I wonder what the holdup is. It may be because there's a million things to do on a feature film, and you can constantly change your mind.
Then this pandemic isn't helping anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's funny is I don't, I feel like, we're, I guess we're still at a clip, because there's a lot of stuff that was planned before any of this happened. It happens later. Hopefully the shoot, because the shoot schedules are so uh, stifled now that I'm not sure what new projects are gonna be coming in. Some good stuff though. To rush and finish everything and then realize we have nothing left to do.
Right, yeah, you gotta pace yourself so that keeps you guys busy.
We'll see if that works out. I mean, there's lots of cool stuff going on. I mean, with the whole that Unreal Mandalorian technique that they used, right?
Yeah,
did you ever see that?
It's pretty amazing.
It creates so many more opportunities to like film without a set.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be the future of filmmaking, huh?
Maybe. So did you get to? I mean, of course, everyone's in lockdown, so there's no way to do this. But I think. So what's open over there? Like, our theaters aren't open,
just
are
open,
they?
I think, in Orange County just this week, I think. So I guess a lot of people are rushing to go see the new Christopher Nolan film. I forgot what it's called, Tenet or something like that. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to see that too, but I don't want to go to the theaters to watch it. Not yet.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, we're all open
Also,
here.
you get
So
to watch it if you
I'm sorry.
have you seen it already? Or
But we
oh,
yeah,
is it
I
amazing?
did. I don't want to
So
spoil
no,
anything.
it's not amazing.
Um, I didn't say that. Okay.
Okay, so is it
How do I
just good
say
or
it?
bad?
I don't remember
Did it meet your expectations, I guess?
It's an insanely
Okay.
well-made movie.
All right, that's
How
good
about
enough
that?
for me.
I mean, we'll when you see it, we'll talk about what I'm
Oh,
hesitating
okay.
to say.
No,
But
it's all good. Keep it secret. I don't want to know.
you keep that secret. It's like cool. Cool, Chris Nolan, genius. It's one of the few films that I would say is it treats it and smarter than they are. I'm like, I watch a lot of very strange films, like esoteric films. Like it's what I
Oh, Charlene
prefer.
says hi.
It's like
She just joined the stream.
Charlene,
It's been a
hi.
while since we talked to her.
Charlene?
At least for me, I'm not sure if you talked to her recently, but it's been a while since they moved.
Not too long. Charlene, you should do this
Yeah.
with us.
What do you guys think of what we're doing? Is it seem cool? I always like to get feedback. Sometimes people are like, oh, that looks like that, and then it's like, oh, if it looks like something else, I'd rather change it and not have it look like something else, But then sometimes there's things that you can't really avoid, right? Like tentacle people's faces is like, well, there's like Davy Jones, and then there's like all the other Cthulhu things. So it's like it's gonna be somewhere in that realm, but it's not gonna be exactly.
I see. You don't want straight up Davy Jones, do you?
Exactly. It's like, oh, somebody already did that. I don't want to do that. I want to just make something original, and that's what I try to do on all these streams. Just try to do something different, because we work in film, so we usually do the stuff you see on screen. So we don't want to have more fan art of films that we actually worked on. So I just try to concentrate on having something different and unique.
Thing, right? Like I I love and appreciate all the fan art that I see online, but I'm also like I it would be weird for me to do it because I already did
Yeah, you
it
got
at
paid to
work.
do it, right? So it's like I kind of already did. Yeah, I know I have that same feeling.
I have to do something weirder and um, just something different because what is asked of me at work is always, it's never something that I would like pick specifically, even though it's cool. It's always cool. Like I'm not saying it's not cool, but um,
I'm just noticing that they never added a visible count for the layers. They only added that for subtools. Have you noticed that? Because I was trying to increase the amount of subtools I can, or the amount of layers that I can see. And it's like, oh, it doesn't exist. For some reason, I thought it did.
I think you're much more disciplined about your
Yeah, I
layers.
try to be.
I'm wild when it comes to working on my stuff at home. It's like I'm so reckless. I guess it's my chance to like mess it. Like also like with ZBrush to like, and I probably redo a bunch of stuff needlessly because I don't use layers. But I just like break things all the time and put them all back together because I don't know. I like the spontaneity of brush.
Yeah, I tend to use layers only after I Z-remesh it, just in case I wanted to play around with proportions. But I feel like now, like the only thing asymmetrical from this model is that I changed the tentacles around because they look really, really boring when they were just straight. Like it didn't help the design out at all. So I figure if I start breaking them symmetry
Mm.
now, like I could see the potential more on this guy. But I think it's almost time to kind of break all the layers, like just bake them down and then subdivide one more time to start adding some like secondary, tertiary detail.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, but that's like it's you work like a really great like if you're freelancing somewhere, it's like the best anything. You won't lose anything. And like I feel like I always have to be so reckless and ZBrush.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, right? Where like production is way different than what we do for fun, like what we're doing now. Where like people ask for like, can you add like 20% more of that? And you're like, well, if it was in the layer, I could just duplicate it and add it, and no big deal, or dial in the layer in and out. But if you don't have those things, those safety nets, then you're kind of stuck, and you're like, well, it's gonna take me another 3 hours to redo that, and you can't really say that in production.
Exactly. You got to
Yeah.
save your butt, especially if you're showing a state to your bosses or your VFX supervisors. If you show a state at any point, that state needs to be saved somewhere because even if you go 600 versions down the line after months and months, they might turn around and go back to version
Yes, and
8.
that happens a lot. So even now, that's kind of what I'm doing now, right? Like I want to experiment with making a mask that fits somebody's head. So I'm trying to figure out like the layer where I adjusted all the major proportions. How much of that do I want to keep? Because I like how bulbous the head is getting, but now if you see, it's crashing through the guy's jaw. So I might have to just tweak that in another layer to kind of keep the bulbous head, but get rid of the stuff that's breaking through the neck and the jaw. And that's the reason I'm kind of going back and forth on this. I wanted to identify which one it was because I'm being just kind of careless and everything is layered, untitled layer.
You play a lot with when you're playing with your form. Are you playing with the like? Do you ever approach it like playing with like those basic kind of when you see like the Pixar design books, like telling that story with the
I'm
shapes.
trying more and more.
Like V's look like heroes, and rectangles are strong, and things like
Yeah,
that.
I'm trying to do that more and more, and also like trying to just not do any detail for the like stay away from detail for the until the end. And I'm getting better at it, but before it's like somewhere mid through I used to
Yeah.
jump in and start detailing stuff. Where now it's like maybe I'll detail it and erase it just to see like what it potentially might look like, but not get stuck in that stage. Like
Hmm.
like when you're a younger artist, you're just kind of want to add the details as quickly as possible, and then that's not the right move, because if your primary forms, secondary forms aren't right, then it's not going to get any better.
Do you ever uh for work, and the thing is with ZBrush it makes things so easy, a little too easy. But at work, do you find yourself taking everything all the way to the end and then having to reverse engineer it, because that's the only way you can get that you can get that idea approved, because T poses just aren't cutting it
Yes, I have
anymore.
to do a lot of constantly, like I guess like you're saying, kind of take it all the way, even take it to substance and do a quick render, put some textures on it, and then just remember like all these steps I might have to redo. So remember kind of how you did them,
Mhm.
so that you can just reapply them, which is better because you saw the idea, but then that means you have to reverse engineer it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like I feel like I constantly have to reverse engineer. So I almost treat that I almost treat that concept as my new
Mm,
scan. That I have to just, because we used to just receive scans or whatever, and then like, oh, you figure out what to do with that.
right.
And now ZBrush is so flexible with you know you can reproject. I reproject with this all the time. um Reproject all the detail, uh get topo back on there, um and get everything back to a T-pose position, so Cree can actually have something they can work with instead of your concept. And I guess the advantage too having that is there's a
Right.
target and a target for Cree to hit, um, as a point of reference for where they need to where the model needs to be when it's that approved look. It's so hard to see when you're in T pose whether or not it's going to get there.
Yeah, you can't sometimes see the full potential of it, right? Like,
Well, it's like, I think maybe, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like before it kind of felt like, and I think this was because of me and like having like a lack of knowledge. It just so personally, I felt like, oh well, I don't know better than um, the other people that are helping making this character look good, right? Like I felt like, well, if they're doing their job and they know like this is how this is going to work, and I think I was putting a lot more responsibility and ownership into their hands as opposed to putting it
mm,
in my hands, um, because I didn't have the level of like anatomical knowledge
right.
that I do now. And before then I would just like, oh, I guess they're right, and I'll just like kind of leave it to them to kind of push the character. And now I feel like and they appreciate it too. Like they want that collaboration and to be able to like say, no, like, this is kind of more what the design should be. And this is anatomically more of kind of and then you can like help each other with your knowledge instead of kind of leaving it to, because we're modelers, right? So modeling is the whole point is to make it
Mm-hmm.
look pretty and make it look like the way it's supposed to look. Um, and if you're not contributing in that way, like rigging doesn't want to have to worry about that as much as you should be worrying about it, I guess. If that's like, of course they're worried about how it looks, but like they have a bunch of other stuff to deal with than like making design decisions
Right.
for you.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes also it's good to challenge other people, like with like bringing some stuff up because maybe they overlooked it by accident. And then it kind of refreshes their brains, like, oh yeah, we should tweak that. That's a little more important than some other things that I thought.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
a.
for
I guess
sure.
it's not about like, oh, I'm right or wrong. It's like, how can we make this better?
Yes, yes, exactly. And being involved in those conversations because it's your, like I passing the buck on an asset, and specifically like a creature. Props might, be a different deal, but specifically a creature, like you want ownership over it, um, because it's awesome and you want to be a part of what makes it look good. So to be involved in those decisions and not just like rely on uh, somebody else to make that design decision for you is really important because it'll keep your um, it'll also improve your eye for what will work and what will look good, and like and having a great relationship, of course, with the other departments, I think is super important as well, because they're the ones who are going to help you make it look as good as you dream about it
Yeah, if
looking.
you make their life easier, then they'll have a easier way to kind of just push more instead of trying to fix something.
Exactly. So, question for you: are you relieved that not being in films, um, that you don't have to shot sculpt?
Yes, yes, I never have to do that. Well, I don't know if I never have to do it, but I don't have to do it now, so it's great. I don't have to think about if it was rigged better, I wouldn't have to do this.
Yeah. First of all, how dare you? Second of all, no, that's great. Like that's the if someone's complaining about UVs, forget it. I think, and even though sometimes I like shot scopes, but only, and don't tell anybody, but it's only because you're able to like put that, you're like the finisher at the restaurant, right? Putting the final
No,
garnishes
that's
on.
true. Sometimes
But
it's a nice thing to be like, yeah, I made that shot work because, or else it would have looked like he has broken neck.
yeah, where everything's broken, and it's like it's the that's something, in case you guys don't know, it's like it's one of those things that we in film, it's like a necessity, because no matter how great our systems are and our pipelines and our deformations, we always want to art direct every shot. Something's not working. Maybe we didn't have the time to put in this one thing, or one department, like they really just are out of time.
Yeah, they can't add enough wrinkles on the
And it would just
clothing
be
or
so much
something. There's
faster.
always something that pops up that could be better, and it's nice to be able to just go in there and kind of be like, all right, let's just fix it for this one shot, and nobody's gonna notice for the rest of the movie.
Yes, exactly. It's like that. Like instead of taking it all the way back to Cree or to rigging or cloth effects or creature effects, um, to fix a zipper that's freaking out.
Yeah, it's much easier for you to spend 20 minutes fixing it than for them to spend a whole nother day just passing it back through the pipeline, and we don't even know if it's still going to be the way they want it.
Yes, which is it's a solution that I understand. I understand it all, but I'm also like not what I look forward to
Yeah, I think it's
necessarily.
you know when I think it's great is when it's from another show that you haven't been part of, and you're just being pulled in just to help for that. You know, it's not when you're like been working like crazy hours on the show and then you still have to do that on top. You know, because then say you kind of
Hmm.
come in fresh and you're like, all right, cool, let's fix it, and then you move on and that's it. Like you're done with whatever shots you have to fix, and you weren't super invested, so now you're just making it better. You know, as opposed to when you've been working on it for so long and then you're already at your 12-hour mark or whatever, and you still have to fix this stuff for tomorrow. And you're like, I can't do it. I'm so tired. You know. I don't know. I just get more tired because I'm old now.
Uh, don't say that. We're fine. Not old yet. I think it's because you have a growing
Yes,
family.
it definitely requires a lot. It's And look at this guy. He actually looked kind of weird. I just masked something, and now he looks like some weird alien uh, with no tentacles. Oh, you're not. You can't see my screen. Huh? I forgot. I keep forgetting that.
No, I can't see. I'm gonna look forward to being able to see it after this. I'm gonna go for it with the posing.
Nice.
So remember when I said I was completely reckless?
This is that time.
How that goes. Uh, I'm so reckless. So I'm gonna tear this guy apart. I usually start with uh, I want to have a curve of the spine, and this is something I think we explored a lot in Simon Lee's class, actually, which was the idea of the Bernini spiral, where much like and this is a good opportunity to kind of share what I've been up to with this other project that I've been doing, which I can actually show you guys. Let me quick save this, and then I can open it.
Yeah, do it up.
Let me open this project, because it's something I've been working on for a long time. But this is a perfect way for me to show an example of what I'm talking about with the Bernini spiral. Let's see where to go. Cool. So this is a piece I've been working on for a really long time, and what's going on here when I'm talking about pose is I had that follow through of a line throughout the spine, and since I have two figures, the second figure is also following that same curve. So if I was to go into Photoshop, you can draw a line on that spine, and then from the top, it's going into a spiral pointing upwards, larger at the bottom and then tighter at the top. So and this is much like if you ever seen I was inspired by that Rape of the Sabine women, the famous Bernini in Italy, and if you haven't seen it, look it up. It's gorgeous. There's all in together in this like twisted pose, and basically from any angle, if you approach things that way with that line, at least you have a direction, a driving force of where your eye line is going to be pushed towards. So as you look at this model from any angle, there's a force, there's an inertia going up, and that angle, and including their eye lines, I was considering when I was thinking about like how to place everything. So all that just to say that that's how I kind of choose how to pose, and then of course real world physics are going into it as well. Like I actually get into the positions of these things because I want to understand like which leg is going to have more weight, and which one at which moment is the apex of that movement, right? So you took the level 3 anatomy tools one, right? So the great thing about that is like you can go and you can have the live model there, and you can literally ask them when they're at the apex of their move and these are like Cirque du Soleil people, so they're incredible athletes, but if they're doing like a backflip or something, they can tell you at what moment is like the apex of the movement, and whether or not they are like if you take a step at that moment, like which moment do you want to capture? Do you want to capture before you're about to fall on your other foot? Are you capturing as you're leaping into action? And that's all a consideration as well. Like what point in time is this? And the great thing is if you have a model, you can actually ask them what point in time is that? And which one do I want more which one do I want more drama out of? Do I want a line or do I want to feel inertia? So it's kind of like it's guessing for me at this point with this piece, but that's kind of what I've been exploring when I'm thinking about sculpting a movement and posing and like how to put this together. So anyway, all this culminated into what is coming soon, but I do have a whole post about it. You can go to my if you go to the Artist Alley, there's a link in there for this page where I put together a whole making of, and these are the ZBrush renders, concept renders of what are going to be bronze pieces. So I've been putting together I've been putting together this project for a long time, and I have amazing people helping me out to try to get these into the real world and actually made. So you can look through these pics and see I went through 3D printing. We got a wax cast. I had to clean. So the foundry guy helped me clean up the waxes. They poured. Then we got these bronze casts, and then I have to clean a Dremel for years and years. Like when you find out how much work goes into this, you understand why bronze is so expensive. Because it's not the metal itself; it's the actual work. I sourced some local marble and got a stone cutter to get that base out for me. And they made this like beautiful base for them to stand on. This is Jonathan at Lost Wax Wellington welding these two figures together, like you just saw in ZBrush. And then he's going to weld more metal on there, and then I have to just Dremel it all off. So this is just me doing manicures. This is how beautiful the foundry looks. This is the official assistant for the foundry, Frankie, the best dog ever. And this is like first step for the patina, where they like accelerate the oxidation process, right? And it turns black. And then you have to wipe it away and do, like a dry brush almost. And then after that, they blowtorch it and spray on the chemical that becomes the patina. So that image is coming soon. Like he just called me, he said it's finished, so I'm going to post those images. And this is him applying the wax. So yeah, just keep an eye out. I'm going to post those final images soon, but I've been so excited to like share that with people. So like you guys are kind of the first to really hear about it. Thank you. It's been I've been wanting to do this for a long time, as you know.
Yep. Well, it's here now, so that's awesome.
It's here now, so yeah. So anyway, that's just my theory when it comes to how I pose these things. So I'm gonna just continue with that. Have a spine line. So if you have any questions, let me know. But like, I'm making my choices based on that that idea usually, because it creates the most interest and drama in the piece.
But so those guys started just like the way you started this guy, where you just do a T-pose and then you start kind of, once you get to a good part or a good section, you start posing them.
Reasonable enough. I would say once you have reasonable enough feed in there, like these are not the best, but I'm going to polish them up. But the shape's there and it's fine. I'm going to make it better. But yeah, once you get to the point where I think the toes are done, then you can easily repose. And even if the toes aren't done and you just want to see what it looks like in pose, what's great about ZBrush, you can do one foot, rip it off, Dynamesh it onto the other bits if you want to.
At this point, you still keep it Dynamesh. You haven't Z-remeshed it to get like some like levels of resolution to pose. Okay.
Nah.
Nice. You just go full brute force on it, right?
I've only sculptressed. I haven't even Dynameshed yet. Yeah, I am wild.
Rogelio says hi. Rogelio joined us the stream.
Rogelio, Yo, what's up?
I wish they could talk to us, like hear their voices, because
Well, they can chat,
yeah,
right?
they're
Are
chatting.
they?
They're
They're
just saying
chatting.
hi, you know. And Lucas says Mush 3D. Yeah, I remember life before Mush 3D. It was very painful for shot sculpting.
Wait, what is my? Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
never
I
used
only
that.
used it a little bit because some productions are like, no, we don't want to use it, or like that pipe or that company didn't use that software. It's like, we need it.
Wait, I feel like I feel like I never did any shot sculpting in at hydraulics though.
No, I don't think we did much.
Maybe because we didn't often do characters other than the
Yeah,
big ones. But you guys
we did
were,
some, but we
I
did
mean,
some,
I
but it
figured,
wasn't as much as like some other companies, you know, where like you have to. I guess all the other companies after hydraulics, a lot of the shot sculpting was to redo like cloth that got screwed up, you know, not so much like the character, maybe the necks or shoulders, but it's always been like cloth, like add more
that.
detail, or like the cloth got really soft and you have to make it look a little more real.
Yeah, I remember more. I think I remember like as a utility modeler, the tasks that I remember the most. And I think I told you something, and you were like, um, at one point I said if I had to do another, uh, if I had to do another, what am I trying to say? The uh, tracking grounds. I'll kill myself.
Oh, I remember those days.
I think you just took it. I was joking, but I was just like, you were just looking at me like, noted.
Like, good luck with that. It's part of our life
Exactly.
here, you know. I think that never ends. Those things, those little things, like, can you just help me do this thing? It's like it ends up being like a 2 day job of just tracking grounds or walls or something.
Yeah. Those and old school too. Like I feel like now there's so many tools to help. And if you're at a larger VFX house, maybe that was the difference too. Because this is kind of a transition too for me from being from a smaller VFX house to like a huge one. Like huge. I don't even know any like who even works with me. There's 1,500 people there. Um, and their pipeline is so worked out that those little things are taken care of by another department. Um, but shot sculpts are always coming. But trackable grounds, if that has to happen, a lot of people don't know how to do it like that old school way
Oh
we used
yeah,
to do it, where we would track with locators in
yeah,
Maya.
yeah. Well, that's another skill, right? It's like a
And
lost skill that if you didn't have some software to help you do it, or the right pipeline TD to help you create a tool, like how would you do it? Like people wouldn't know how to do it, and that's I guess some of the skills that we have that we kind of inherited from all the hard work we did.
well, I remember I think it was my first day. Maybe it was you, maybe it was some other people we work with. But I remember mentioning because I was just like this overly eager. I mean, I wasn't right out of school, but I was pretty new. Um, I was overly eager to help out, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I know Buju," and you were like, "Maybe
Yeah,
keep that
maybe you
quiet."
just keep that to yourself if you don't want to move to that department. Yes, I think I remember that.
So like, thanks for helping me out. I didn't know what I was doing. But it's so funny. You're just like, no, maybe don't do that.
We have also Paul. Paul joined us today too. Paul Martinez.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's
long.
been a long time.
All right, I am. I'm gonna keep that line going. The one time I use the when I'm posing, I don't usually use the new gizmo, which I know is crazy.
I, I
I like
I
that
still
old
go
one
back
because
and
it's like a
forth because there's still some things I don't like this one does, but I switch. I'm like 50-50.
But this
Yes, the
ability is
pizza
the
boxes.
best.
That's what I think Paul calls them, right?
Ah, those incredible pizza boxes. Those are the greatest. Wow, talk about getting the band back together. Everybody's
Yeah.
here. All we need is Gilmore.
Yeah, we
Where's
need
that
that
guy?
guy. We need Ratcliffe.
That's right. Have you talked to him
I have,
recently?
I have. He's good. He's staying busy still, so that's good.
You've been
I
LARPing?
think so. I know he got into he moved up to Idlewild, I think. So he's up there camping out somewhere or some cabin.
I'm gonna I'm gonna start this two-headed business. Let's figure this out. Fun design challenge. So I'm gonna make the legs do something a little more interesting. So again, too, and we're jumping around on topics a lot because we're in a flow state.
Yeah, we're just having
Right?
fun.
Um,
It's all about having fun in this stuff. No pressure. You know, this is our natural habitat. How we do stuff when people are not around. I guess.
yeah, pretty much. Like if nobody was around, I'd be doing the same thing, but I would be getting up and getting a ton of like caffeine in my veins, probably every so often. But it's the same kind of like I saw this hilarious clip the other day of someone doing a fade at a barber shop, and there's this guy like running back to like to try to see if it looked good from across the room, and then he ran across the street to see if it looked good through the window. And I feel like that sometimes with my work, where I'm like running around trying to see if it looks okay, which is it's so crazy to like try to see a monitor from across the room when it's like, why don't I just zoom out?
It's true, but it doesn't feel the same, right? Like I know what you're talking about. I feel the same way where like I zoom out and I'm like, it's smaller, it's great, but it's like something about also even sometimes taking a picture of it with your phone and then you see some flaws that you didn't see in the monitor.
Yeah, that's true. Colors are definitely helpful for that. Like it's helpful to like figure out whether your colors are working because I don't know about you, but I don't have a calibrated
I
monitor.
don't either.
Everything's wrong. Maybe. I do. I just want to mention contrapposto in in animals. It's fun because you almost have two pelvises to work with. So I kind of whatever way the pelvis is shifted, I try to make the scapula the opposite because everything's kind of like working in pairs, right? If you're in locomotion, and it also just makes for like an interesting sculpture. So
Nice. Yeah, it's a good tip.
this needs to. Here, I'll use this. No pizza boxes this time. Let me think. If he is moving forward and turning, he's probably going to be right hip up, and then this leg to stabilize or to like push him forward. It's so funny too. Like when I think about these offsets, another like a good tip for it. When you're thinking about offsets like this, don't try to get it wrong. But if you get it wrong, if you have the offset, it's going to make it more interesting whether it's wrong or not.
Yeah, it just makes it feel more organic, right? Like
A lot of balance and motion and like natural and interesting lines. that pose a bit. Maybe I'll put a ground plane in there so the feet are touching. Are you gonna print your
Yeah.
guy?
So I'm thinking of printing this guy like life size. So that's the reason I went back to that layer to kind of make sure that it fit that mannequin, because I have that mannequin from here. So if it fits that mannequin, then I can it could fit somebody if I were to make it out of latex or something else or silicone.
Oh,
So this is
cool.
like my
Okay.
first, I guess, life size thing that I probably have to even with a large printer, I'm probably still gonna have to split it in half somewhere. So we'll figure that out when we get there. Especially because I think the tentacles are probably going to be the
That'll be
hardest
really
part
nice.
because they're all going different directions. So I might have to chop those up somewhere where like you have like a little nose thing without the rest of the tentacles, and put those in separately so they can print without the supports being on the inside of the key, not on the bottom.
So are you so how does the process, which printer are you using? What's
So
the
for this one, I
process?
might use the Phenom L, which is the really large one. They should be able to print a helmet, but I think at this point, because I have this, it's so large. Let's see, it's since see if it was just the head, it would be fine. But because I have this bulbous back of the head, I think I have to split that off to fit, because it might just fit like the mask part and not the back of the head, and also the shoulders. So
Are you
yeah.
and you're fitting it to your
Well,
own
I'm fitting
kids?
into this generic guy that's supposed to be good for like one size fits all type of deal. I do have a scan of
Oh,
my
okay.
head. That's kind of how I was doing all the other masks, like the COVID masks. But this one, I wouldn't wear it. I just want it. I just want to have it. you know. But it's good to
It's
have the
really
option
cool.
in case I did want to wear it. Then, or well, at least I know it was stretch enough where my head would fit, or anybody's head would fit.
How many of your mask projects do you get your kids to wear for fun?
Um, they don't. I don't know. They don't really care. They just they're just like whatever.
But it's so
Yeah.
cool. Man, if I had a parent growing up making masks, I would take advantage
But
of
because
that.
Halloween, I guess I'm not sure what's going on with Halloween. We bought some costumes, so I think what I'm gonna do is 3D print some accessories. Like one of the costumes that she wants to wear is Wonder Woman. So it comes like with the
Okay.
dress and maybe some other stuff. So I might print her like little crown thing or tiara, and like customize it for her. Like those type of things. So that'd be
That's
cool.
really cute.
But she wants to be like three things. So I told her, so through the month of October, she could just like the first part, like the first week or two, wear like one costume, and then the next week wear like a different costume. Whenever she wants to.
So cute. I mean,
Just to
that's
keep it
fun
fun, because
because they
she
can't.
doesn't know like Halloween's maybe canceled this year or whatever, or you can't really go out because it's COVID crap. So it's at least it keeps it fun for her, and she still gets to dress up, and even if we just buy her candy and we just give it to her, like it's better than not having any Halloween at all.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Oh, that's the one thing I mean, there's a lot of great things about New Zealand, but they don't really celebrate Halloween
Mm,
properly. Quite depressing when it
I
comes to
see.
Halloween. I mean, I think it's getting more popular as time goes on, but um, yeah, there's not like, let's just say it's like only barely for
Oh,
kids. It's not really for adults. So coming from Los Angeles and America, it's like, you go up and you're like, is anyone dressing up for work? And you're
like
like,
why would we
what?
do that?
Why would you do? Well, what do you mean? And then the whole day kind of went by as a normal day, and I was like,
I guess nobody
no,
cares.
who even cares? So sad. Right, let's try. I'm reasonably happy with this as a start, and then I'm gonna split off that head neck situation. See what I can
Nice.
do. There's a hotkey in ZBrush. Don't laugh if you already knew this. Well, two hotkeys I discovered, and that's the thing. Like me using this for a million years, and I learned another hotkey.
What is it?
I'm like,
Share.
oh,
What is
this
it?
is
What is it?
awesome. Okay, first one is Control Shift D will duplicate your subtool. Didn't know that, so it'll just pop up, and then you have another one. And then the second one is
I didn't know that one either, actually.
oh, because then you can keep having the save states if you're going to do something risky, right? Then you can keep duplicating your subtool, and then like, oh, that messed everything up, so I'm going to go back.
Okay, that's a good one. I didn't know. What's the second one?
The second one is say you have a part hidden. If you hit Control Shift A, it's going to show everything that is connected to it, like its whole, like when you double click in Maya on faces,
okay.
It'll show the entire connected model.
Nice. And that was Control Shift, or what was it? Sorry.
Control Shift A.
Nice.
It will show the entirety of the model, only if it's connected. So for example, if I was to merge this down with the head, and there's two different poly groups, right? And only part of the head is hidden, and it's not connected because it's not Dynamesh with the body. It's only gonna show that connected piece, which is awesome. So
that's the thing I love about this industry, that you never stop learning. You know, like you do some certain things your way, and then you sometimes get trickled into like little things like this, like little tips or shortcuts that you're like, oh, it's gonna change my life. Like this is gonna be so much better. Like
yeah, exactly. It's gonna change everything. I saw that and I was like, at first you're like, oh, why didn't I know that? And then you realize, oh, right.
Well, even just like poly modeling inside ZBrush, like I've been wanting to, and I just haven't had the time to, because I just always end up going back to Maya and just doing it way faster. But at some point, I'm gonna have to learn how to do that, so I can make minor tweaks or insert an edge or whatever, you know. But sometimes I just don't have the time. You know, eventually I'll learn it. It just sometimes, you know, like Sculptress, I hardly use it. I mostly use it when I clean up a scan to like add some more resolution or remove something, but it's rarely used. I need to use it more.
I recently really embraced it, and only on the beginning stages. And you know where it really helps is when you're cleaning up a scan. You can obliterate nonsense from the scan, especially on like cloth, like little zippers and bumps and weird things. And you don't have to remesh anything and lose detail anywhere else, because you're just adding resolution in that one little tiny spot. Right. So if you have like a thing here, like a
little growth,
you know,
yeah,
scans sometimes have some kind of terrible skin tag. Sometimes scans have, you know, artifacts, and then there's like little ghost faces like hanging out over here. Not ghost face killers, but but then when you turn on Sculptress, you can literally just
take Pastulio away, right?
Take that out and not have to Dynamesh it and lose crisp details elsewhere, and you're just rebuilding this, like the smooth part, right? It's incredibly useful for that kind of stuff. And then I use it all the time for this stuff too, when I'm starting, because I can literally just obliterate detail so quick. Me being completely
destroy. Yeah, that's the best way to destroy everything. But sometimes you need to do that, you know. So
I love to destroy. It's my mission. I'm gonna make this two-headed guy, because that was a great idea, John. I'll keep it separate for now, so I can reposition it and then figure out how this anatomy joins. I should look up some conjoined stuff for tomorrow.
Yeah, we've been, wow, we're almost at 2 o'clock. This is when it feels like it's been like 20 minutes.
It's only been 20 minutes, man. We're in Interstellar, and the time doesn't move the same. Or we're in Narnia.
Yes.
Actually, let me just turn this. So before we log off for now, which I think our plan was to continue modeling the
Yeah,
same
just
ones, right?
continue, or we could
Um,
whatever, I think it'll be fun to continue so
you
that we
develop.
can show like where we started to where we ended up at. Look at that guy. Looks cool. I like him.
I've been very focused because I can't see any weird stuff yet. Yeah, I'll look up some conjoined stuff because that'll be a really fun anatomical challenge to like heat it up in a way that doesn't look clumsy.
Nice.
But does anyone have any questions about?
Let's see. One of the Christopher says, I guess there's no end to learning ZBrush. It's like, nope, there's no end. I don't think there's
No end
anything,
to
right? Like
learning
ZBrush,
ZBrush.
Maya, anything you do is like, I don't think there's ever an end unless you're like a developer that you made that program that you know what's missing and what needs to be added. But
But that here's the secret. The true secret is that it looks like we know it. Um, it's more like we know where to find the answers than I've memorized everything. If that makes sense. Like Maya, if I have to remember how to do something I don't do every single day, I know where to go look for it. And I think that's like what separates a professional is not knowing everything. It's just knowing where to find the answer.
yeah,
Because I don't remember half the stuff I'm supposed to remember, and I just know like, oh, let me just do this forum search, Google search, or if there's a wiki at work, or I just figure out the answer. But it's not like we know every button in Maya.
yeah,
So
definitely not. Yeah,
definitely don't do that.
if you did, I don't know. That's pretty awesome, but I can't do that. My brain can't hold that much memory.
No, we're obsolete
Yes.
machines, Miguel. Maybe tomorrow I'll get more wild with some forums.
Yeah, I really appreciate everybody that joined in and checking this stuff out. It's cool to kind of interact with you guys and kind of you guys see what we do and how we do it and why we do it too.
Do it. It's cool, I guess.
Yeah, because we like it.
It's actually really. We do like it. I hope to never be like. Everybody has complaints about like no place where you work is perfect, but like I think we stick with it because we actually like really think
Yeah,
it's cool.
exactly. Yeah, and that's one of the things that why we kind of I
Even
guess
now.
always stay friends and we always like talk to each other and help each other out because we kind of like the similar things. So we kind of when I see Crystal do something really cool, it kind of motivates me to keep going and try something cool when I'm not feeling it, and maybe it's the same way the other way, but that's kind of the way I feel about it. The more people you have around you that are doing the type of stuff you want to do, it kind of motivates you.
Absolutely. I see your stuff, your 3D printing stuff. I mean, all my friends on like and that's the great thing about the best part about social media, right? Is the fact that you can find like-minded people because they're not always like locationally in the same place where you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Like sometimes you have to find them outside, and I think we lucked out working together, but you know finding those like minds, like the people who are like, oh, I'm like I actually really love this. Like it's not just like a passing thing, or it's just a job to make money. Of course, like we're so lucky that we're able to do that, but it's also like it's exciting to see what's new, what's coming out, how we can improve ourselves, and like it's great when we can like keep motivating each other.
Yeah, sometimes doing conventions like this really helps you when you've just been working on a job doing something that you like doing, but it's not exactly what you want to be doing exactly. This kind of helps you get it out of the way, design your own stuff, and put it out there in the world. And who knows who's gonna like it, but you get it out of your system, and hopefully people like it, and you keep doing more of it.
Absolutely. I mean, look, sometimes you'll have to do shot posts every
Yeah,
day.
sometimes that's what the job. But hey, it pays the bills and it keeps you going to go home and then make your own creatures or do your own things.
When you have that, yeah, and it also helps you like let go. If there ever is an artist ego inside of you that's like, I don't know, upset at like a bad call or like you did a design and somebody doesn't like it, and it's like it's not personal. But if I didn't have this escape and to be my own art director for a second, um, I'm sure that stuff would probably get to me more. But now it's like I'm here to make the client happy. So if whatever that is like against my own best instincts, whatever they want, that's fine. Like it's really helped me become quite zen with my work. And like there's no reason to have an ego with that because it's like you're there to help them solve a design problem and make them happy. And if you do this for yourself at home, it can be like, oh well, it doesn't matter because I'm going to do what I need to do at home.
Now we have Pritchard. Hey Pritchard, how's it going from back in the hydraulics days? You remember Pritchard? David Pritchard?
Yes, hi. Back
Back
in
in
the
the day.
day. Oh my goodness. You really like shot me back. It was like Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Been a while.
It's been a long time.
Here to rate all of your favorite, I guess projects. We'll say projects, not workplaces. Just
Projects. That's tough. That's tough. I want to say probably what I'm doing now, but I can't talk about it.
we'll just say
Yeah.
TBD.
What about you? Same thing. You can't talk about it.
Favorite projects? No, I can't talk about this one because it is. You can find it on. So Toronto Film Festival is actually doing screenings. So I think you can buy tickets to see online screenings since no one can go outside, or they're not supposed to. And you can actually see some movies that are just becoming available. And one that just got released and it's going to be on there is called Shadow in the Cloud. And that's starring Chloe Moretz, and it's directed by a female New Zealand director here. And it's a really cool movie. And I won't say what I did, but I think because I don't want to give away any spoilers, but it was one of the most fun things. And that's the thing, like I'm always surprised by how much more I enjoy smaller productions because you get so much more freedom to like design and make decisions because there's not like as much like there's not as much time to fuss over stuff. It's like we just have to get this done. We got to get it done cheaply, but we have to get it done. And like I'm super proud of that work. And it's like a it's like a cool movie and directed by a woman, so that's awesome. And yeah, I think you'll like it because it's gonna have some good some good
Nice.
stuff we like in it. And let me think what else. What's funny is like I did enjoy working on Skyline,
I did too. You know, I just
even
watched
though
like
it's like
is it the third one or something? And I still remember watching it. I'm
I
like,
didn't say
that was a fun times. You know.
it was a good time because of the people. Even though we worked a ton, and I think we have like trauma from it, how much we
Yeah.
worked on it. But we felt like ownership because it was our movie, right, in the studio. Like everybody involved was making it, and and if we didn't have the good people that we had, it would have drove us
Yeah, I
nuts.
think a lot of it has to do. I guess if you ask me for my favorite projects, it would probably be like, probably like like the 007 stuff we did and like some of the Avatar stuff we did, that's when we were like all in the trenches. Or even Wolverine, it wasn't the greatest movie, but it was a fun, crazy movie we worked on, that
Oh
we
yeah,
just put so
Wolverine.
much work into it.
Yeah, yeah. It's stuff like that that's kind of like, I'm glad things are getting a little bit better when it comes to like, at least from my perspective, it seems to be getting better when it comes to crunch and stuff like that. I don't know about the game industry, just talking about film, um, and like trying to have a better work-life balance, because that was a little intense now that I'm thinking about it. But because I was like in the trenches with my homies, it was kind of like,
Yeah, I think that makes the biggest difference, right? When you're doing that and there's other people doing it with you, and we all have like the same passion, and we're all just pushing each other. It's like, man, it's like 11 o'clock at night, but it's like, dude, we're doing this. Like, let's just do it. We know it's going to be over soon. Let's just put as much work as we can, and it makes it fun, because then
yes.
other people are there. You're not there by yourself.
And it was a fun, hilarious time. Um, and I think like we knew we were coming in like all weekend. We were concerned about laundry because we wouldn't have any. But I think just take for our dinner break, we would just go to
Yeah,
Benihana and have a
exactly.
whole
We just have
show.
fun. It's like, all right, we play hard, we work hard, let's do everything just to the extreme.
Exactly. And it's so funny. If a student or someone asked me about interviews, I interview, like the thing is, once you're in for an interview, um, your skills are there. Once you're in for an interview, it's not about that. Like they brought you in because they like your work. The interview is actually for those times. Like, do I want to be there at 2 a.m. with someone who I think is going to be like cool during those
Yeah,
times?
yeah, exactly. Like, are they cool people? They're not. Hey, Chun just showed up too. Hi, Chun.
Oh my God. Welcome. The band is back. June, why don't you join us
Yeah, you
next time?
should. Yeah, we should have a hydraulics reunion stream.
We should. Remember that ghosting blog?
How can I forget?
Okay, how could
I
you
think it
forget?
still might be up. I
That
think
was
we might have to
pretty
find
good.
a link for it for next time.
We do. If you guys want to see some hilariously bad work of mine,
Oh my god.
you can check that out. And some really
So
great Photoshop
yes.
of Miguel as Patrick Swayze.
Yes.
He's the Swayziest. And Paul is Whoopi Goldberg. Funniest stuff ever. Nonsense. That was like wonderful nonsense. That I miss in my studio. Of course, there's like some great people I work with. But there's definitely a lot less silliness going on than there used to be. People a little bit more
Mm.
serious.
Yeah, I don't think I've had that many silly, crazy occasions in after that. Not to that extreme. Things that we cannot talk about during the stream.
Maybe we've lost our minds a little bit, but you know what? I wouldn't give those memories. I wouldn't give that up for anything because it's kind of like it helps
Yeah.
shape.
But yeah, we're coming to the end of today's stream. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it and watch us make some mistakes, watch us make some cool stuff. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, so at 12. So we'll continue working on this stuff, or if not, we have some new stuff. We'll see. But yeah, it was great for everybody to join. Really appreciate you guys joining.
Yeah, so awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. So with that, we'll leave you. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.